Here we go again, ladies and gentlemen. We're setting up here for the live right now as we speak. 4 people in here. Man, good to see you guys. This is awesome. So I kind of teased this thing a little early. Man, you are right on time, Joshua. Thanks for coming by. Yeah, guys, give it a thumbs up if you're here. Mike is actually playing the Notre Dame game. Some of you guys saw him in a kilt the other day. So that puts that in a little bit of perspective. I just got out of putting the kids to bed, like completely just fell asleep in there. So I kind of aimed this one as talking about the Flightline RC Spitfire 1600 millimeter, although I'd be glad to talk about anything with you guys. What's up, Photon? Ricky, good to see you, man. So yeah, Mike again, he's not here. He's working the bagpipe circuit, which is lucrative. You know, 1 in 5 guys wears a kilt and plays bagpipes at Notre Dame games, is what I hear. How good is the free wing F4? I really want one. You really don't have to dig very far, Mark Jones, to find out everybody's perception on the F4. What's up, Brian? People are loving the F4. Obviously, the videos we put out are geared at, you know, they're corporate in a way. But you can watch loads and loads of customer videos as well as ours where, I mean, this thing is just performing flawlessly. Is the clipped wing mod for both Spitfires? It is not. You cartwheel, though, your little 1200 enough, and you'll be easily able to do the clipped wing mod to that one. That one actually would be easy because there's no lights and stuff on the 1200 millimeter version. Victor Shamulus has a ton of videos of the F4 up on his channel, he says. Yeah, Brian, good to see you once again. I haven't done the clipped wing mod on the 1600 that we have. You guys, though, are on the YouTube channel. I just posted it today. I went back through the archives and just put together a thing with landings, just kind of in a way, not even a highlight reel, but just really my buddy Rob, who we talk about landings extensively, was who was in my mind when I was putting that video together, because after I did the A10 video, it's actually the channel trailer right now on Pilot Ryan and Captain Mike's YouTube channel. So many guys were, especially Rob, were very glad to have seen that video, just to be able to glean any bit of information from it as far as landing that A10. And actually, when we were talking about that A10 months ago, I told him, I was like, you know what? This is one of those conversations that I love having. First of all, I love talking about airplanes, and specifically, I really like talking about landing them for some reason. It's the hardest trick we've all got to learn. And I told him, I was like, you know what? We're going to do this again sometime, and may make it figure out some way to document it so we can share it with people. If you're here, man, thumbs it up. It helps. Thank you, Doug and Brian. Yeah, that video was fun. I mean, it's just outtakes and kind of behind the scenes from when we did the flight review. And I'm going to try to ring this chap in actually right now while I've got you. And the more I do this stuff, guys, the better I'll get at it. I really love the interactive part. And with some of you are watching or listening to the podcast that we stream live on Tired Iron Aviation's page, and that's fantastic, but I can't see your comments until the end of it. So the live thing, me and Mike had a blast with you all the last Saturday. And when Rob asked me the question about the Spitfire like a couple days ago, I was like, you know what? Perfect. Let's give me another reason to come on Saturday again, Saturday Night Live, RC Dude style. So let me try to figure out getting this guy here. He wasn't sure he was going to be able to do it. So was there ever an American company that made EDF jets? Man, I don't think so. I mean, it's definitely possible, but we've had this question. Slight spurts of freeze ups. Thanks, man. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to find this chap. Okay, cool. I'm going to, let's see, aiming for 9 o'clock. It's promoted as such. He says, let's talk. I'm going to dinner with friends at 5. Won't be done for a while. Is this like a group conference call? Bummer. My dinner plans just got pushed to 5:30. Where do I find your podcast? All right. It looks like we're going to talk to Rob some other time. But anybody else want to talk about the Spitfire? It doesn't matter what we talk about, and honestly, it doesn't have to go long tonight either. I really wanted to get Rob in on this conversation. Smart fella, good guy, who really asked all the right questions. It was a great time talking to him about the A10, and it was really nice that he appreciated so much of that video and being able to hear the throttle and stuff like that. Joshua McLean, yes, and that's as far as I can answer. As far as upcoming jets and airplanes, things like that, yeah, I can't answer more than that. So yeah, another. Any of you guys watch the podcast with the Timber Brothers or listen to that? They're getting ready to made in a Spitfire as well. And any of you guys jump in the comments if you have an opinion on this. But I recall the 1200 millimeter Spitfire not having a call out for a flap to elevator mix. Didn't need one. Was just right. And then when you put together the 1600 millimeter Spitfire and set it up by the book, as we like to do, and you'll notice if you watch the video, and I'm going to link in the description to the video I posted today, the video we did for motion. But we were flying at that time what I call the old school Admirals. They're a little bit heavier, and it's still a floaty plane. So I remember going with I think it calls for a 1.5 millimeter up mix. That's after you already have a 2 millimeter up trim at neutral, which is what the book says. I just did check on that. And then 3 millimeters for like full flaps. Well, it's a Spitfire, so it's just basically it's always full flaps. And so if you watch the video at Motion RC where we were flying it, I mention it where I just did instead of doing half flaps and full flaps, I did full flaps but 2 positions. So one position was the 1.5 millimeters up, and then the full position, which was full anyway, is 3. And what I realized about that, where'd the chat go, y'all? There we go. What I realized flying that is, it just was floaty. So I basically backed down the mix to even less than that. And if you think about the 1200 millimeter not requiring it, you can get along without doing it at all on the Spitfire as well. And it all depends how you want the things to land and and act on approach. I'm not going to just sit here and spit without talking to somebody. Um, lay it on me, man. I mean, do whatever, Brian. I mean, go ahead, ax me. I may not do this very long because I really expected to have Rob here to really get the conversation going on the Spitfire, because without the questions, um, it's just soapboxy, which I dig the interaction. When I have the guests, that's what I love too, is what you get. But I love having you guys in the comments, man. You know, you guys blow up the comments. It looks like there's 8 people here, but the comments make it look like there's 100. I mean, you guys stick around, and that's cool. I appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. This is the way to do some things through the winter to stay connected with you. Thanks for liking that video, Ricky. What are some tips for landing with the Spitfire's gear? If you watch that video from today, I let it all out so you can see good landings and bad ones. The bad ones are normally the result of letting it get too slow. But and then also, I was getting at, like, I remember having the thing set up by the book, and maybe I had too much up mix or something, but it's like, man, I can't get this thing to want to come down. And it's fighting, because you put the up elevator mix in, the nose goes up. The reason they say in the book to give it this mix is because the nose goes down when you put down the flaps. Unless it's drastically down, that's not a bad thing. You want it where it's going to settle in predictably on final. And when you do touch on 2, it doesn't nose over. You don't want it to nose over, but you also don't want the nose to never settle and fight this. You got a beautiful plane, but now you're going to have a hard time fighting the landing. I mean, the thing flies so good, landing it should be no problem. I mean, you almost couldn't dead stick it if you wanted to. If you watch those landings, there's a lot of the good ones, the power is in, but it'll land really slow. So some tips for landing with the Spitfire's gear. The Spitfire is great, like a P40, where I feel like it takes a 2-wheel landing very well. And also you can pull a 3-pointer. So, get your flap to elevator right, load the nose up. I like flying those big, heavy, old school Admirals all the way forward in that plane, and it's still probably borderline. Mine dives like crazy, had to add up in mine with flaps about 5% up on mine. I just checked my radio, and I'm at 4%. And I may take it out all the way and see what happens. I think it also depends on what battery you have up in there as well. If it dives like crazy, then yeah, I'd rather pull back pressure on approach than have to give it down. But yeah, that's the thing. That's why I think talking about it's great, because you can tailor these things to behave the way you want them to. It's better to start with no up elevator on your flap mix and then slowly work it in. That's good advice, Victor. Spitfire was a lot of fun on touch and goes, and actually all the videos that came from, I just kind of smashed it up really quick today, mostly because I wanted to have you all be able to kind of visually jump in the conversation with us, and also for my man Rob, who's RC Aviator on Hobby Squawk. 6L 5000 in yours, Miller. The old school one or the new one? I see you, Brian. So I used this example the other day talking about flap to elevator mix, and I used the Sea Fury. We were talking with Anthony and Ben from Texas on, I think it was the second podcast of RC Pilots Lounge, and talking about flap to elevator mix. And it was different, the mix that you needed, but it was the same reason you needed it, right? So when I put in flaps on the Sea Fury, the nose would come up, and this was with no mix. The nose would come up and just wallow around, and just like it wasn't fun on approach. And so I put a little bit of down in that one and got it to behave the way I wanted it to. And it went from being a nightmare to like stick it monkey pants every time. Turner G50C. It may be heavier than the old school Admirals, but that's not a bad thing. Miller, do you have the 2 millimeter at neutral up trimmed into that plane, Miller? Just out of curiosity. So don't have a spot. CZ Flyer doesn't have a Spitfire yet, I'll say, but I love my new Flightline Bearcat. Yeah, the Bearcat's awesome. Yep, I gotcha. If it flies fine, Miller, I wouldn't worry about it. I would just, do like you said, increase that mix a little bit, tick at a time, percentage at a time. I think even on planes where I end up having a monster mix, it never gets more than it never becomes more than like 15% at the max. Yeah, Warbirds, Victor, it's fun. I mean, we forget them, right? I mean, we get to flying these jets and completely forget how much fun Warbirds are. And I was telling somebody, I talk so much that I can't remember who I tell what or where I said what. But I was telling somebody that after flying jets for a while, you need to get back on your Warbird game, because you'll forget about that right rudder a little bit, and you be like a newbie again, which is super fun. I've been really digging Warbirds lately, and also it's a little bit because I know winter's coming, and so I kind of will dust off the 3-cell batteries, what few I have left, and start going prop job. Like I've been loving that E-Flight Cherokee, and it's been out for a minute now, but the E-Flight P47. Has anybody got their hands on that Viper yet? She flies on rails, getting ready to add the Eagle gyro. Yeah, man. The plane does fly on rails, and it's super light too. That's kind of why I like the nose heavy feel, especially on a light plane, because it makes it a little bit easier to deal with. I feel like that's the one thing I notice about my flat mix on that Spitfire as well. Like I said, I have the 1.5 on the half flaps, which is really full flaps with just the elevator mix is different. So if it's windy out, I will go with that lesser mix because I want more of that predictability, that nose down, penetrate through the wind, not fight that wallow around in the stall so much. But if it's dead calm, like the 3 millimeters seems to be okay. But again, I like the heavier packs in there. Yeah, P47 flew mine on 4S 2 hours ago. I made in that E-Flight P47 a few days ago, and it was awesome. And I put in an old 37, and I'm responding to CZ Flyer here. You guys, if you ever get back and watch the replay on these, you can click like something about chat, live chat, top chat, whatever, and you can see all the comments kind of in real time as they came over, because there will be loads of comment on the live, but then not as much on the replay. They don't just transfer over, so you have to go surf around there and then hit that button to see just like kind of like Facebook's do when you do the replay on those streams as well. Yeah, dude, the E-flite P47, Mike and I are going to work that thing up. It's been out for a minute, but I just dying to have one while we're waiting on some new things to come from our friends at Motion. I thought, well, let's do an old favorite that I never got really a chance to do. I think I maidened one for a fella in Muncie. I can't remember. I might have helped him with it when it looked squirrely. But so maidened on a 3700, which I guess was a bad battery. It started sagging really quickly and I had to bring it back around and lucked out. Then I put a 3300 3S in it and it was fine. But I was like, okay, cool. Let's try 4S. 4S 3000 was fantastic. The motor does get warm and that hub will get warm. So I flew it hard on a 3000 4S. And then I put a 4000 4S in there. And just, man, it was awesome. Just ripped the snot out of it. Had a blast. There's something about the prop jobs and especially Warbirds. That's where I got most of my early experience. And man, I just feel so confident flying them. And the AS3X is nice, but I mean, guys, you guys remember Snort and Bull? There wasn't gyros back then, and it was still just a killer bird to fly. Let's see, catching back up on some which Viper. It's the new one, Ricky, that E-flite just released like last week or something. It's a 6-cell Viper. I think that's what it is. It's like a sport jet. It's got a pseudo military scheme on the bottom. Looks pretty good. Yeah, that was released like last week or something, but may have been around. P47 flew mine. Okay. I also only run my elevator at 50%, though on my Spit Warbirds really never need much elevator throw. It just gets you in trouble. Absolutely. Very true. I've talked about this with a lot of fellas before where I feel completely obligated to go by the book because I feel like our position is to be a point of reference for you all. And it levels the playing field on reference. So it's easy to talk about things like, you know, we work up early models and things like that. And there's also sometimes maybe someone across the country's got one as well, or Magazine Man or whatnot. And so when I reach out to those guys, let's say I have issue or want to talk about something with these guys about that airplane, what ends up happening is I definitely ask them, how'd you set it up? And when they say by the book, that really levels the playing field. And I know, okay, cool. You know, it gives you a point of reference. Sometimes guys just have their own way and that's cool. If I didn't do what I did, then I wouldn't go by the book either. I would just kind of go by what things look like. And I remember setting up Spitfires a long time ago before I was doing magazine or video. And if you have too much throw on that tail, you'll snap it. You know, you'll fall out at the bottom of a loop or something, right where you need to be flying through it. You snap it right there on the bottom end, back end. Let's see. Joshua had an FMS P51, killed it while doing a high-speed pass. Remember not to do those next to trees. Yeah, those magnetic trees are a son of a gun. Deuces Wild said something and took it back. Love my E-flite P47. Change the speed controller to a 50 amp and run 4S. She is awesome. I need to do something like that. GB Linden's RC. Check him out on YouTube, fellas. He's got quite a catalog of things he's done. Actually, all aspects of RC as well. Any of you flight guys that want to dabble in surface, I would go check him out. By the way, I'd like to do that sometime. He loves his green P47. The P47 is on the list after the Cherokee. Matt K. Deuce's Wild flew his 1.2 Spitfire on 4S today. Rips pretty good, not as fast as the T28 on 4S. That T28 is fantastic. Typos, he says. Deuce's Wild. So, out of curiosity, while I'm building my media empire here, I've got some questions too. Like, are all of you guys? I don't know how to have you answer it without just having to answer it. I assume you guys are all subs here on this channel is why you're here. Otherwise, it may just be popping up and suggested for you. If you don't mind, I would be curious if you came here because it came up and suggested, or if you hit the bell for notifications and you were alerted that way. Guys, thanks for the answers. I appreciate that. Had a spare Rare Bear 70 amp ESC and used it in my P47. That's killer. George at Tired Iron Aviation sent me a big monster prop for the old Unique Models Corsair. And I'll get it. Hold on. It's a monster. Can you see this thing? I mean, it's absolutely huge. So I would say that the E-Flight prop probably comes to here. I'm not exaggerating. It's smaller. It's definitely smaller. Did I screw up the focus? I did. Also have the E-Flight Corsair, P51, Spitfire, changed all of them to 4S. They are way better on 4S. Yeah, it wakes them up, doesn't it? I mean, I think they're figuring that out too. I mean, the Cherokee, the first one to say, I think, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the first one to say that it can be 3 or 4S was the Cherokee. I could definitely be wrong about that. But especially if you've been on forums at all for a while, that guys are always going 4S or wanting to go 4S. I get all notices from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Yelp. Ricky, you're something else, man. I know you got my number all over. I appreciate it. The Mustang, GB Linden says. The P47, the Corsair, and the P51 all run the same prop for your information. Yes, true. Agreed. The T6 doesn't, because it's got a big two blade on there. And then was it announced like that, GB Linden? The 1.2 Mustang was announced for both 3 and 4S. That's great, because I mean yep, cool. That's great, because they need it to keep guys interested who are beyond cutting their teeth. You need that. Yep, GB's right. Well, that's cool. That's good to know. And the T28 runs a different one. That makes sense a little bit because it's a 3-blader, but that thing calls the mail. So on the T6, some of you guys have seen my highly customized one. I went 4-cell power on that one, mostly because I have more of those batteries, and I just kind of wanted to weight up the front end a little bit. And I knew I was going to be doing like a ton of lights and modifications and BECs and all this kind of stuff anyway. So I put the Flightline Bearcat high power system upgrade on there. So the Flightline RC Bearcat has an option to hop it up with a 2-bladed prop and a different motor and ESC combination. And so that's what I put in the newer E-Flight Texan that I highly modified. That was the first time I went 4S on anything E-Flight, but it wasn't stock power. By the way, I have that motor in ESC out of the stock E-Flight Texan. If anybody needs it, hit me up. Let's see. Let's catching up on the comments. So I assume also, thank you guys who answered the sub question and for all the thumbs ups that you've given. How many of you guys have also been tuning into those podcasts? I do check the comments over there when those shows are done, but it's not my Facebook page. So I'm not notified if and when you guys comment on the replay over there. I do always get the files and upload to this channel a day or two later usually, and then on the Anchor app. CZ Flyer. Yeah, dude, we'll talk later. I don't know. Whatever you think, whatever's fair. Hey, you know what? I think the super chat's on. CZ Flyer, you be the first one to super chat. Where are you at? What state are you in, CZ Flyer? Probably something stupid that starts with a C and a Z. Like, how will I not know where he's at? So I like a scale performance better than a powerful performance, Joshua McLean says, and Brian agrees. Northwest Florida, CZ. Cool, man. I like to be able to just use the batteries I have. So I don't have a whole lot of need for 3-cell batteries lately, although it's nice to have some because I have more 4S and 6S packs than anything. Because Florida, I'm in Florida too. Nice. You guys should get together, man. So I do need to get some new 3S batteries. I have more 4 and 6 if anything. Well, listen, CZ, hit me in the super chat. Let's try that. I don't know if it'll work or not, but there ought to be a little $sign or something in the comments there. People all the time are talking about raising money to sponsor people with super chat. And a lot of times on the bigger YouTube people, they don't even look at the comments unless somebody like paid to say something, which I think is ridiculous. But CZ, we can talk later, or you can hit that like $sign thing. And like, I think one time, I don't know if it goes through your PayPal or what. Brian, man, you got to hit me up in super chat so we can figure out how this works. I'll get you back. The $sign next the chat bar, Joshua McLean says. I have no idea how it works, but it's cool. And I have invested a bunch lately in trying to get high tech. But dude, Florida, I say $20 gets you that stuff. I'll send it to you, man. It flew once on that plane. So if that doesn't work out for you and you don't want to do it that way, don't. It's cool. We'll get together later. Message me somewhere. I'm everywhere, and say who you are. Ricky says you'll be the big time soon. Negative $21 sound. Sounds like the story of my life. Joshua McLean, you're funny. What I want to do, man, I just clipped out, dude. I have that voice that's just like boom. What I want to do is hit you up on Hobby Squawk right on. Brian says he was alerted on YouTube. I assume that's notifications. I totally got off track. Negative $21. Again, the story of my life. Oh, so eventually I'm going to have merchandise. I don't want to just ask for money. I would rather you get something. So like shirts, coffee mugs, things like that. If you guys would be into it. I figured Tired Iron Aviation's got everybody in the world wearing his shirts. I just signed one for a guy in France the other day. Can you believe that? And also, some of you guys must be familiar with the Patreon thing. I don't wanna do that either because, it's a subscription deal. It's like every month. Like, I think if anybody's interested, like, first of all, buying the merchandise, having a shirt, getting a coffee mug, getting a hat, whatever, is probably the coolest thing to do because you actually get something, and that's what I would love to give you. Um, the subscription thing, I mean, who wants to sign up for every month? Super chat is cool because you either do it or you don't, and it's that show only. It's nothing that you're signing up for like every month you're going to do. Even the podcast has a thing where you can do it, and I think it's weekly or monthly. But again, I'd rather have you guys representing and have something tangible to hold. So I'll get there eventually. 'Cause I gotta keep this thing going. I've been doing this so long that there's no slowing down for me, no matter what happens elsewhere. So Hippie64 mentioned, yeah, I see that, man. That's cool. So GB Linden's RC, Brian's been watching it and checking him out for a while. Man, GB Linden's been around, guys. Yeah, he didn't want to do that Patreon thing either. I totally get it. I think merch is the way, so you don't feel like a schlep. Know what we need? White RC shirts. Too hot in Florida. Need white for direct sunlight. I hear you, man. What about gray or something that's like this with baby yogurt dribbles on it? Some of you guys might have got the I did a test earlier today. I would be into your merch, Broheim. Thanks, man. So here's a fella I haven't seen. US NVA 11. Does Free Wing have any plans for an F80 T33 in the future? I know it's a change of topic. Sorry, no need to apologize, first of all, for sure. And I'm telling you, you guys should know by now. I can't answer anyway on anything unless it's we shirts with hot chicks and warbirds. We just can't go there. Everything is so planned out on the marketing end, and part of that is we all cultivated that kind of format together, where the first information on models coming from Motion is official. Because when you work so hard with a company manufacturer, you should be able to control the first impression. Just to be aware of it, and give it the proper treatment, right? So I've used this analogy before. Let's just put it into a little bit of perspective. So the Free Wing Scorpion, when planes show up, it's been a year or so now that we've been able to keep things under wraps at Motion together, where we would be and I'm very proud of this, the first guys to like put any media out on a plane and also time it really well. It's not working for you? Okay. I don't know how I can fix it right now. I'm trying to do it right now just to see. It's taking me off the page. Yeah, they don't let you do it with PayPal. It looks like it's a credit card deal, which I'm not going to do right this minute. But I mean, I think it's enabled though. I'm not sure. It was letting me try to send one anyhow. Okay, so the Scorpion. So long story short, the Scorpion, a lot of planes back in the day, the guys overseas over there in Asia would get them first. And so they were flying these things and with no discretion and documenting their flights like a lot of us do, but they're not they don't have any stake in the game. So the first video up of like the free wing scorpion, and I may be exaggerating, like it may have turned into a fish story at this point, but I remember it as 30-mile-an-hour winds, the grayest day I've ever seen in China, and and the dude bounced the thing like as high as a house, and I think landed upside down. I mean, that's quite a story. Like it may be a little bit off, but that's my perception is like, and the thing is, us guys over here, we, hey, Dennis, good to see you, man. Us guys over here, we obsess over these planes and we watch them and we go to the internet to see, now I like to think we come over to see how we do with it. But you go to the internet and you salivate over these models and you decide if it's something you want to purchase. So when you got the worst foot forward in the way of perception, it doesn't do well. So over the years, we finally cultivated this relationship so well. I say we because I've been just a part of the motion team for so long, and still am. So it definitely helps to be first. Finally figured out how to hey, it worked. Thanks, Brian. So super chat came in from Hippie64, $5. That's cool. Thanks, man. Hey, yeah, other people see it too. That's neat. And don't do it unless you want to. It's I'll get better at this and give you some value. I want to have my man Rob on here and figure this out with him and talk really specifically about the landings on the Spitfire. Anybody else, really don't worry about being off topic because today's show kind of, in a way, fell apart completely from what I intended to have happen. But thanks for all the thumbs up, man. Guys, we've been hanging out for 42 minutes so far, and it's one of my favorite things to look forward to. I wasn't sure I was going to do it this Saturday because I don't want to wear you guys out. I'm doing that podcast on Thursday nights, and but the one thing I'm missing from Thursdays is the comments. I have a ball with seeing you all right here. Dennis Farley, I hope you're going to be at all the Warbirds at over Grapevine stuff when we go to Texas here soon. Someone, let's see, catching up here. Mark Jones, honest opinion on this F4 8S 14 blade. Are you asking me if I like that? Let's talk about that real quick. So, Mark Jones, the F4 on 8S is a ripper. I mean, it's fantastic. It's a 12 blade setup. And of course, it takes either 2 4-cell batteries or a 6 and a 2. I really, for the 8S system, I only have 2 flights I can do just because I don't have a bunch of 4-cell batteries with EC5s. I'm not into changing connectors because I'm always flying like the, kind of stock equipment, so to speak. So although I really love the F4 on 8S, it depends what you're after. Oh, wow. Thanks, man. RC Weaving, FPV, appreciate you, bro. Successful night with INAV, top of the world, still in the field. Oh, that's fantastic, bro. Thanks, man. So 8S stock power was killer. I don't have a whole lot of packs for that, so I have that power system just sitting out right now. I think I'm gonna put it in an F-15, but I'll just tell you this, and I've said it before. Thanks, Joshua. Yes, I can retire from my regular job now. 122. I got a radar rip on the stock power 6S F4. I got 122 And then I got 114 with it was so hot at Jet Jam. I got 114 miles an hour on the stock 6S power, and then with a fresh battery, actually RC Jetworks 6000, I got the 122 one day. And different guns in different conditions, so nothing definitive there, but that's on stock 6S power. And if you've been flying the jets for a while, it depends what you're if you're an 8S dude, then go 8S. You already have the stuff laying around. I think also one thing to keep in mind is it does get heavier a little bit, obviously, with the 8S power system stock, because that the fan and shroud are a little bit heavier. You got that beefier in-runner, heavier motor, and then of course you're running the 2 batteries. I really want one. Is it worth the money? Absolutely. You know, I grew up riding skateboards, which by the time you were all done with them, even if you didn't go with all the, you know, parents would take a kid to the skate shop and make the kid buy every little thing to protect the thing from getting scratched, like nose guards and tail skids and like rails and all this stuff. And it's like, everybody knows the minute the kid gets that thing home, they're going to take it off, because the whole thing is to just trash that skateboard as hard as you can, just to get buck wild and rip it up. So with that being said, the price of admission, man, you pay to play. So I think the F4 is 100% worth what it costs. I mean, that's the market dictates. They can't keep that stuff in stock. So that should speak volumes. Is Motion going to be selling the new E-Flight 70mm Viper? I don't know. That would be cool. Dennis Farley, I'm not quite sure where we're at on this one. I might have lost it. Talking about flight times. It's good we are talking about RC planes, so it's a good video. Absolutely, Ryan, getting my AMA card so I can fly at Warbirds over Grapevine. Cool, man. It was great to meet you down there. I hope all things are well with your family, by the way. Miller says, just don't hit a power line with that F4. It doesn't do well. It doesn't. Just ask George Baker. I had plenty of my own problems, but that one wasn't mine. Howdy from Scotland, flying shots for a feature film. Dark Highlands, just in 2:46 a.m. and I find you live. Awesome. Is it BI or BL? BL. I recognize that name too. You've been around for a minute too, supporting us, I believe, even on this original channel here. BL Thackeray from Scotland, out there doing it, getting it done. You in video production? You'll have to definitely hit up these Facebook groups or somehow get us a link to this picture when it's over. Any kind of flying film, dude. Stick it, Monkey Pants, says Hippie64. I tell you what, you guys wear that on a shirt. That's so something that belongs to us, I'm telling you. I'll try to get in touch with you at some point to see if you're going to be there early, like on Friday. Dennis, I am supposed to fly in early. It's the time change makes it where I leave here from South Bend at 7 in the morning, South Bend time, and I'm off the plane at like 8:50 or something Texas time. So I'm going to be there early. I'm going to be hanging out with you guys, and the show is awesome, but really, I'm telling you, Southern hospitality. I had the best time hanging out with everybody before and after the shows as well. From RC to Monkeys, loving the consistency. Joshua, you're on fire, dude. Hats. What I'm talking about, he says. Mark Jones, buy it and crash it. It's all in fun. Don't want to, but it's all part of the game. Yep. BL Thackeray. Yeah, I built the flying DeLorean. Yes, I'm in film. Is that true? Back to the Future? Am I the only one counting down the days until Top Gun 2? That's not out yet. Hippie says he'll wear it with pride. Yeah, man, I gotta guys, it's tough getting things done, to be honest with you. I so I mean, I'm not a graphic artist, so I want to come up with like a logo. And there's a couple different ways I can go about it. I don't want to spit too much about it on here, but basically, long story short, it's got to be something that can go on, clothes or coffee mugs or something. But it also needs to be somehow um, splashable, where it can work like maybe as an avatar or a banner on Facebook or I don't know, something. GB Linden's trying to get a job with the Back to the Future dude. All walks of life fly RC guys. And that's really fun. Most of us don't really talk a whole lot about our other stuff because we're just like so into this, and it's a great escape. Are Val Kilmer and Cruz in part 2? I think Cruz is in part 2 for sure, and then I'm in it as well. I'm just kidding. Not in it. Guys, we are rolling hard. Let's see. If you're in here still and you haven't thumbs up it, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up deal. If you're subbed, but you haven't smashed the bell, smash it. If you do Instagram and you're not following me yet, let's get it done because I'm putting out stuff about every day. The Pilot Ryan is how you find me. Thanks for the thumbs up, guys. The Pilot Ryan is how you find me on Twitter and Instagram. GB Linden, you know how it is on Twitter. I think it's just me and you over there. RC is not a big deal over there. You're killing it on Instagram. Thanks, my man. Having a lot of fun. Have Callie help with the logo ideas. That's not a bad idea. Thank you, Brian. Totally. Just thumbs up. Thank you, US Nav 11. What's your name, US NVA 11? Tell me so I can quit saying US Umbrella Sierra November Victor Alpha 11. Stickers. Number 8. RC Weave and FPV number 8. Is that your name? Keith. Keith from Virginia. All right, Keith. I'll try to remember that. Deuces Wild is thumbs up and giving me like all kinds of emoji style props. I love it. GB Linden, he is on Instagram. What's your handle over there? Probably GB Linden's RC. Thumbs up number 8. Thank you, man. Cool. I get it. Rockin' Jets. Guys, these things are a blast. Mike had a ball when we did that impromptu last weekend. So did I. But, I mean, he hadn't done any of this, and he misses out on the Thursdays for now. Thanks, Keith from Virginia. Big Motion RC fan for years. Me too. Maybe the biggest. Let's see. I asked about this. Back to Mark Jones. I've missed a bunch of comments. I think so. Found out in 2020. I asked about the F4. Served 70s and 80s with this jet in the Air Force. Oh man, how can you not have one? Not the car. I got you, BL Thackeray. Yeah, Mark Jones, dude, you'll love that F4. Especially when you have history with it. And if you want to make one in a scheme that is specific to your experience, CallieGraphics.com can help you with that. And she may have it already. Go peruse that website. Tell her I sent you so she'll quit charging me. I tell you, I get to be candid now. It's pretty fun. Skip Stewart was able to sign the Prometheus 4 CZ flyer. That's cool, man. You know who was able to sign my Prometheus? The Dirt. The Dirt. Mike, I was on the maiden flight. I was like totally again, like here we are going from jets to props. And all right, Miller. See you next time, partner. Appreciate you. I see you on Facebook too. Thanks a lot. Have a good one. So yeah, man, I told Mike, I was like, I had no time. I was in a hurry, but I wanted to get the maiden flight off on that Prometheus before we did workups because I was, it's not just a like lazy Sunday flyer, right? I mean, it's the Prometheus. You should be ripping it up. And so let me shake it down and get the maiden flight going. And it's on your channel where he signed the plane. That's cool, man. That's cool, CZ Flyer. Go check him out. You can hit his name in the comment and get to his YouTube channel and check out where Skip signed his Prometheus. So I wanted to warm up a little bit and shake down the maiden and get it over with before the camera was rolling. But Mike was at the field when I got there and he had his camera stuff with him. And so we filmed it. It's like, why not? We always just try to get something. And so he's like, yeah, you're doing pretty good, man. Why don't you hover it? Why don't you hover it a little lower? Why don't you hover it a little lower? We know what happens. I lost it and put it in. I mean, it was so much on Mike that he bought the fuselage and the parts. Like he knew it was on him. I didn't want to do it at all. Let's see. I get you, CZ. You're on your second Prometheus. First one lasted 6 flights. Yeah, you did 5 better than I did on the first one. Just makes you sick, especially I think with you guys, when you crash them, it stinks for sure, but nobody's waiting on you to get anything done with it. Like when I screw one up, I gotta replace it and get one and still do the work. Let's see. Okay. We were on the F4 deal. Sorry, guys. It's on my channel. He's pretty nice. He gave me a signed hat and poster talking about Skip Stewart, Joshua, 6 flights between back to Deuce's Wild. Deuce's Wild RC says between the 90mm F4 and 80mm MiG-21, which do you prefer to fly? I mean, kind of the F4, but a lot of times that's because it's new as well. I'll tell you this, I've been jonesing to get out my MiG-21 because I think the 80mm jets are so sweet, especially something like the MiG-21 and the A4, because you get this, it's basically the size of a 90mm jet with an 80mm setup in it that keeps it nice and light. So they behave so well. So I actually am probably going to take out my MiG-21. Hopefully on Monday, me and Mike have some work we're going to do for video. And I'd like to take out my super highly customized MiG-21 that I did in this like ridiculous bunny fighter Russian scheme. So I like the F4 for, it feels pretty predictable, kind of like a Warbird does. And I can just rip it and it feels great. I like the MiG-21 for its slow flight, though. I don't really get into the power much on the MiG-21, especially because when I first had mine, it wasn't painted yet. That silver's a son of a gun trying to see it, So that's why I went with that completely hideous Russian paint scheme on my MiG-21 because I want to be able to see it. So to answer the question, I'm not sure if I did very well between the 90mm F4 and the 80mm. Which do you prefer? I got to say the F4 all around. The MiG-21, I appreciate just kind of for a specific set of character. Like I really like the delta wing of it and the landings on it, but don't enjoy the flight as much. I know some people probably do, and that's okay too. So yeah, I do like the F4. better, but because I leave that MiG-21 parked a lot, like I've been jonesing to fly it, so it's gonna come out, if that answers your question too. Um, what's discontinued, Joshua? I wish I bought one, Dad. Sad that it is discontinued. Cali Rocks says, Brian, landing FPV at night using flashlights on the grass is just a rush. I'm looking at my footage now. Cool, man. RC Weavin FPV, shout out. Go check him out. His name is in the comments right here in the chat. And if you're watching this on replay, hit that button that allows you to see these comments come over real time. Go check out his YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button, karate kick the bell, and do the same thing to GB Linden's RC. Anybody else who's really crushing it on trying to make videos to connect and entertain us all and help us make informed decisions, please say something so I can shout you out as well. Some of us produce and some of us consume. Anybody producing, let's have it, man, because I'd be glad to shout you out. I'd be glad to shout you out. You guys who did the super chat are like my heroes too, by the way. Oh man, that's neat. I got to get this merch thing happening. All of a sudden it's going to be like snow on the ground. It's ridiculous. All right, guys, we're rolling at an hour. What's next? Give me a topic or I'm going to wrap it up. A lot of guys connecting on here. I think that's fantastic. Christmas is coming soon. I can't even believe it, GB. You getting the F-14 for Christmas? Hey, yeah, you just got let's talk about this, GB. Linden. GB Linden, a lot of people are actually just getting some of those BAE Hawks right now. GB Linden has been reaching out to me a little bit, telling me about how stoked he is that he got one. I'm not going to deal with my phone right now, though. Let's talk here because I'll just get distracted. Yeah, buddy. Nervous and excited. Slope soaring the Hawk. Fantastic. Cool. RC Weaving. FPV. Recognizing a lot of names. Yeah, man. Definitely hop back in the chat and check these dudes out. I got a lot of I got 14 thumbs ups and 16 people in the room, which is fantastic for a live that doesn't get really promoted. I did that little thumbnail thing today to tease this for 9 o'clock, and I think I might have said something on Facebook, but that one me and Mike did, we didn't do anything. We just did it. Actually, it was a test, and folks ended up popping in right away, and I think it was late too. Yeah, the Bunny Fighter. If you guys don't know what the Bunny Fighter looks like, the MiG-21, go to the Pilot Ryan on Instagram and scroll through the feed. You'll see it there. It's probably way back at this point. Deuces Wild loves his 70 millimeter Hawk. I love mine too and need to replace it. How do you give a thumbs up? I don't know. I don't know because I'm in the BL Thackeray says to swing by his channel as well. Somebody tell Mark Jones how to give a thumbs up. There's got to be an icon down there. Let's see what happens when that's an emoji. There's a $sign. There's an emoji. I can say something like, what up? See that? What up? Are you on PC or phone? Yeah, that's the one thing. YouTube is a fantastic platform, but it really is made more for desktop. My next EDF upload is a flight of the Freewing F-14 by my buddy Odell at Warbirds over Whatcom. He hadn't flown it in a while, but did. The event was windy, but he still tore it up. That's GB Linden's RC. If you want to go check out his channel, please do it. He's going to be putting up a flight of the Freewing F-14 in some crazy conditions, and give it a watch. You know, I love supporting everybody because I know what it takes to keep up producing. It's not always easy, and you have to just be a little bit crazy. Am I right, GB? And just driven, passionate love about the hobby and the connections you make with all these people. It's amazing. We had a great time. You know, it kills me sometimes when we're talking about it. Yeah, he's crazy, he says. Time is the killer, and there's just not enough of yourself to eke it out. There's a lot of things I want to do to help optimize growth on platforms I'm just not able to get to. So the F-14, like, I haven't flown one yet, and it drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. I may have to get rid of my A10 and get an F-14. The F-14 I won't have to take apart to get places. But just to hear myself say that makes me want to cringe a little, because I can't imagine not having that A10 like hanging there every day when I walk out of the house. Man, you guys are the best. So don't know who's going to be on the show next week. I never know, honestly, until like a day or two before. I kind of like pressure. I've had until recently, I've had a quota and loads of pressure for consecutive years at this point, and I kind of like that. So I don't know yet who's going to be on. I know I have the willingness from the boys in Slovenia, but the time difference makes it a real deal where I'm going to probably, hey, see you, Ricky. See you, man. I'm going to probably have to not do a live with those guys and just do it in the middle of the night or something, and let you all see it later. Brian says, see you later to Ricky. Yeah, Ricky's out of his mind, man. That dude's hilarious. He's everywhere I'm at, like being so very supportive, man. Appreciate that so much. The setup for the F-14 is a bit complex, Victor says. Yeah, Victor, you have one of those F-14s? Probably silly for asking, right? I know that if and when I get one, and I'm $10 closer now due to the generosity on Super Chat, but so I know if I ever get an F-14, then I'm totally going to check out RC Geek for his setup, because it sounded really good to me when I watched his video on how to set it up. I would use 2 so the power doesn't drop so fast and has the power you're going to need. What are we talking about with 4 motors? I missed it. Two, so the power doesn't drop. Wings high, guys. See you later, Thackeray. Yeah, it's late for you. You don't need excuses, man. Catch some winks. Nice, Mark. Oh, B-17. Yeah, did they re-release that? It seems like I saw some graphic about the Hobby King B-17 either coming back or something. All right, Thackeray. See you next time. Appreciate you, man. Everybody check his channel out too. If you're not subbed here, I don't know how you got here, but I appreciate you. Consider doing it. Again, all you Instagram guys, if you're not already, oh, that reminds me. My Instagram's getting pretty crazy. So if you guys are posting all the time and I'm not able to see everything now. So if you, and I would love to. So if you're on Instagram and I'm not seeing what you're putting up, it's because I just, right now, some of the strategies have it where there's so many people that I have to look through stuff in the feed. So unless they tag me, I don't see it. So tag me or hashtag me in, I say tag, what I mean is tag or the mention with the at sign. Look under the now watching, give a up or down, talking about the thumbs ups. Don't knock yourself out, man. If you're still, don't even worry about it at this point. If you're still trying to, I'm not dissing on you. It's just like, don't bother. It's okay, man. Either hit it on the replay and give it a thumbs up or don't worry about it at all. If you don't ask, you don't get them. I mean, I've seen this happen where you'll have a great talk and, you can see how many people were here and all you had to do is mention it and you'd get these likes. And the likes, they're not really they are for me, but they're not. They're for the channel to benefit and all this AI crazy algorithm stuff that makes YouTube work. YouTube's algorithms and all the back end is designed for the stuff that has the best engagement, not necessarily numbers, but best engagement to win. And it's all really in an effect to generate the best attention for the people who pay to advertise through the platform. Makes sense? So RC Geek has them. We must be talking about, oh yeah, C-130. Make sure Tired Iron sends you an afterburner. Oh yeah. Yeah, RC Geek's doing the afterburner kits, which are really cool because they're set up like right off of the motor, and it doesn't matter the diameter of the thrust tube or how the nozzle, any of that mess. It's right behind the can in the shroud anyway. So it only matters what size of a motor and maybe what type that it's got to fit on. But I remember these afterburner ring kits being a big deal. You ever spend any time on the forums and it's like brain surgery where they're talking about the diameter of this and that. And it's just a big deal just to get them to fit. So I think it's just brilliant what RC Geek has done with the afterburner thing that he's designed. Yeah, that C-130 is going to be cool. Buy a big truck, Ryan. Yes. Too many. Yeah, no kidding. I need to get a big truck because hopefully I'll get to try one of those things, the C-130 or the they've teased an albatross too, right? Exactly, GB. This afterburner kit he's got is just dynamite, and it looks like it's super bright. A lot of guys are doing like aluminum tape in the thrust tubes. They're so bright. You wouldn't have to do that if you didn't want to. Someone is making a C-130. Yep. Hobby King. Be checking out. We're talking to Keith in Virginia, USNVA 11. I do believe it does have retracts, and I do believe it's Blue Angels. Tired Iron Aviation on his Facebook page, Facebook group, will certainly be showing that off because he just got one. You don't just get them if you're going to not show them. The Fat Albert, and it is 8 channels. Whoa. Man, guys, you guys are fantastic. We're still here. I mean, there's no reason to go. So yeah, any topics? I'm gonna go broke with this hobby. Tell me about it, man. Same folks as the Zazzy. I don't even know what the Zazzy is. Is that a racer plane thing? Appreciate you, RC Weaving, jumping out of real C-130s and C-17s while in the Army. Yes, you do have to get one. It's a great looking plane with the Blue Angel livery, and it's definitely easy to see. I'm kind of liking those liveries. I mean, they just put out a Trojan. I mean, it's a Trojan that's been around for a minute, but it's got that scheme that looks pretty cool. I see, CC. Thank you, man. 1800 millimeter, GB Linden says on the C-130. What is that in inches for us Imperial fellas? It's got to be 67 is 1700. So another 100 millimeters. What's that make it? I'm not going to look it up. I'm acting like it, but I'm not. Alpha says it's too difficult to make black aircraft. We're talking about the F-117 Nighthawk. $71 inches. Yeah. That makes sense. Thanks, Siri. You're funny. Shipping was like $70. That's not too bad. I mean, considering where it's coming from. Well, guys, listen, it's been awesome hanging out. I'm going to wrap it up. Any questions come over last minute, hit them now. I'm going to try to close this off in about 4 to 5 minutes. Yeah, they do gator fast. Black, dark blue, stuff like that. Some foam, though, I tell you, I've been impressed with some foam lately, how it's behaved. But it's not very common. You don't see a lot of these planes. Maybe you'll start to. Thanks. And here's some more thumbs ups. Appreciate you, Keith. Yeah, guys. So yeah, stay tuned, man. Hit all week long. I usually try to post every day on Instagram, something that's fun. Not the same kind of value that you get on the YouTube channel. Not that we're trying to be super instructional over here, but I really, the point is to not hear yourself talk. The point is to like bring up the community, engage with everybody, and hopefully give some kind of value, whether it's entertainment, a little bit of maybe know-how. I mean, I figure it like this. We all spend good money on these planes. If there's somebody that you can look at and glean a little bit of information from that might help you, it's worth it. We all do it. Like, and that's the beauty of this hobby where it is now, where you can get online and kind of check out somebody's build, check out somebody's maiden flight, even if they're not putting it out there to be instructional. You can see the mistakes they're making and the triumphs they're having and try to repeat that stuff. That Spitfire video I just put up today, it's billed as a behind the scenes because when I edited the videos for Everett Motion myself until recently, about within the last year. And so I was under instruction to make them really as short as I could. So making them short, it was really easy to leave out some of the baloney. So I don't, on this channel here, I don't have to do anything like that. So on the videos I put up today, just the one video on the Spitfire, there's good landings, there's bad ones. If you have any questions about them, give it a timestamp in the comments to that video, and I'll be glad to answer it to you, for you. The see you later, Brian. I think if I had troubles, it's because I got too slow. That's usually what it is. Or maybe you don't have your rates the way you want them. You're either run out of it, you thought you were in high, or and you just pumped the brakes, got too slow. What kind of wrapping paper will you use to wrap it up? Good night, Ryan. Catch you later. Yeah, guys, appreciate you. Saying goodbye is the hardest part. Yep, 5 minutes or less. YouTube ADD for real. I know the black on my F4 did gator quickly. Yeah. See you later, RC Weaving, Dennis Farley. Ryan, you just got busted. George on his no way. Well, that ain't a secret no more. How'd you not know? Isn't that oh goodness. What could this be? I mean, he teased it right a couple days ago. Anyway, forget what you saw here. All right, guys. See you next time. Find me on socials. I'm engaging all the time with you. I appreciate you for coming over. If I don't recognize you from here on the other social, say something. Be like, hey, man, saw you on the live. It was cool. Had fun. You talk too much, whatever. All right, guys. We're out of here. An hour, 20 minutes. I'm going to end the stream in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya. Bye now.